to the next lecture on containerization. Now we are going to talk about Docker setup. As I already mentioned, we have three steps in Docker image development and running the container. First is a setup. Second is building the image. And finally is running this image as a container. Let's start with the first step, a setup. For you, the easiest way would be to create an account on docker.com using this address here. Log in there, create the account, and this will allow you to create version and share your own Docker images. docker.com/get started. The next step is to install the Docker desktop app on your computer and run it. Finally, have it in run. You can log in from your Docker app to your account. So go to settings, sign in, and sign in to your already created account. In my case, this is my name and surname without any dots or underscores. And then you can go on the website hub.docker.com and create your first image repository in Docker Hub. So go to hub.docker.com and click the create a repository. In my case, it was ml_tests. Okay, so I can also set the visibility. In an open free account, you have one private repo, and so most of them will be public. In this repository, you collect your images, and to push the image into the repository, once again, you can compare the image to the binary file, yes, which may be later on pulled by someone else and run. You can use this command, docker push, from your command line on your local computer next to your account name. In my case, this is, as you can see, it's a handy shortcut here for each repo. Docker tells you that you can, to push a new tag to this repo, you can use docker push on Javodeski, which is my login, /mltest, which is the repo, and double dots, you have a colon and a tag name, which is the name of the image. Okay, so after the setup, we are ready to go to the second stage, where having our app and the Docker file which configures the way the image is created, we can build the image, which later on will be possible to run on different computers. So let's do our first application, Hello World application. So we can create a folder, first application, create file 1.py in it, and one command, and add one command to it, print Hello World. They're very easy. You have all the codes in my repository, so you can take it or you can just do it by yourself. Next, very important thing, in the same folder, first application, create a Docker file. As you can see, this is the name. This is the file with name with capital D without an extension. Okay, so once again, look at it carefully, Docker file. And the contents of this file are presented on the screen next to, so you can see it here. The structure, you can read about the structure in the tutorials, but generally is we have different layers here. And the first one is a layer which creates a very slim Linux environment. Yeah. And then we copy all the content of our files to a folder to the virtual folder in the Docker image, and then run the command, which is now Python 3 and 1py. Yeah. So this is the Docker file. Next, we build the Docker image locally. So we use the command, as you can see, in our command line, docker build -- tag means that we assign to this application the name first application with a tag version 1v1, and here we have a dot, as you can see, because this is very important, because we will tell Docker that the Docker file is in the current repository. This is very important that we have a space and dot here. Okay, so as you can see, in my command line, it looks like this. Yeah, and it's being built. Okay, so now we have an image on our computer. So now it's time to run it and then publish it, push it to the repo to be accessible by others or our future selves. Yeah? So let's run the Docker container locally. So on the command line, you can run docker run first application v1. As you can see, I have a bit different name because this was from my other lecture in the Polish language, but in your case will be docker run first underscore application, and it should run locally. Yeah, should run locally. Next, you can change the name. In order to push it to the your repo, you need to change the name. So as you can to this repo to precisely point to your account and the repository on this account. So you can build it from scratch with this command docker build -t. We are just rebuilding this. And now we name the app using this syntax. Can you see? So this is the name of my account on Docker Hub / the name of the repo ml_tests : the name of the image, and once again space dot. So now it builds such a new Docker file with different name locally. Or there's another approach, we can change the name of the existing Docker file, but another option, you can find it also in tutorials. Next, and this is one-time action. In order to publish the image, we need to sign in to the Docker locally on our local machine, on our host machine, just to tell the Docker Hub that this computer is authorized to push the images to this account. So I just simply type docker login -user -u Andrzej Wodecki, which is my name on Docker. We just simply check whether the Docker runs. And so we can, once again, Docker run, and now we should put the whole new name of our Docker file just to test whether it runs locally. So we do not push it yet to the repo, just a sanity check that everything works perfectly locally. And then if it's good, we push the Docker with this command, docker push. And as you can see, this is the name of the image, but this name contains my account name / repo : the name of the app. So it pushes my local image with this name to my GitHub, Docker Hub repository. You can check whether it worked. So, as you can see, if you relog in, you will see your first application. In my case, this is pierwsza aplikacja because it was from my other tests. So you can check the image availability, etc., whether it's up there. Later on, you can obviously push this image not only to Docker Hub, but also repositories on Google Computing Platform, GCP, because they have their own repository of Docker images. They call this artifact repository. You have the same functionalities on Amazon and Microsoft Azure. Okay, and now a crash test. So you can log into some other machine. This is one of the servers I use, which is somewhere in the cloud. And in the new machine, yes, so this is in that case a Linux machine, so I have the access only via command line interface. You should, as previously, install the Docker, and then look, if you use this command, docker run, and the name of the user, the name of the repo, colon, and the name of the image, since this is the public repository, you can run it without login. Okay, so that's very nice, because if we just simply type this, as you can see, sudo docker run, sudo because Linux in many cases requires a sudo command to run the Docker, it pulls, it's enabled to find the image locally and then pulls the image from my repo on the Google Docker Hub and runs it locally, and you are done. If you're obviously using your own repo, that should be your account name here, your repository name. Sometimes, as you can see, that requires administrative privileges. In such situation, practical solution is to create a Docker user group and add it to the sudo group so you can follow those recommendations on this website. Just not to repeat all the time sudo command. Final tip, use the Docker plugin in Microsoft Visual Studio Code to inspect your images. So Microsoft Visual Studio Code environment allows for simple inspection of images and containers, both locally and in repository. Once again, image is a kind of the binary file, and container is running application. Okay, so it's like a Microsoft Word installed on your computer and versus a running instance on Microsoft Word. Yeah. So you can, in particular, in Microsoft Visual Studio Code, as you can see, I have this plugin installed and opened at the moment on my left panel. For images, you can download and transfer to the repo, run them, so make them containers out of them, perform inspections, rename, delete. For containers which run, you can check and change the status, so like start, stop, restart container, view and edit files. So that's very, very handy tool to manage your images and containers using quite nice IDE. You can also publish your Docker images on GitHub using ghcr.io. Yes, or you have the proper tutorials and docs here. So as you can see, Docker Hub is not the only place. You have such Docker image repos on GitHub, but also on Google, Amazon, and Microsoft Cloud services. So, just to sum up, this is the checklist I have prepared for you in order to check whether you correctly followed my recommendations. You have those checklists with the sample files on the shared folder. So we had 3 stages: organization, create the image, and publishing. So just go through those activities, make those checkbox, create a Docker account, log into Docker Hub, install the Docker app, create the folder and create simple application, create the Docker file along the lines of here. Yes, create a Docker image, run the image, and then rename the image, publish the image, run the image on another system. So that completes the basic setup, the basic workflow, which will give you a feeling on how it works. And good luck on your journey. Thanks a lot.